What's happening, everybody? We are just waiting for Clayton to connect. He's struggling with a computer on his end.
Tyrion, come here. Puppies. Tyrion, come on. Rosie. Tyrion, come on. Come on. Tyrion, come.
Anyway, this is my little race car driver. She's been keeping us busy. Right, honey? This is what she thinks about the podcast. She's very excited about it. All right. We got Clayton on now.
Oh,
Yeah, this is our little, wannabe race car driver here.
that's Baby Mangler.
No, not at all. I made her cry though, so I'm gonna give her back to Mama.
Aw.
There you go.
Okay. You're okay.
Anyway, this is what happens.
Happens.
Yeah, these things happen.
I couldn't get my daughter's computer to work, so I'm on my phone.
That's fine. It is what it is. This is definitely a thing, though. I don't know why these RC people don't have their own computers. You're like, I got one at work. That's all that matters, right?
No, I have a laptop, but hers is set up with the AKG microphone and headphones and all the nice stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't want you using that thing.
Yeah, she's out. I had to ask her what the passcode was, but I couldn't get the link to work, so.
Oh, well, it is what it is.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for coming down, Clayton. I don't know. It sounds like Mangler is worrying about the hurricane
He's battening down the hatches.
that is heading to Florida right now. I also think he just wants to forget what happened this past weekend. But
Both of us do, I think.
hey, that's fine. See, I like that. You're a man who can come on a show and not be worried about licking his wounds from the past weekend. But you still got a second place out of the weekend, right?
Yeah, yep. I blew up the spur gear in the last main that I could have made myself feel better, so I didn't even get a chance to feel better. Right off the line, blew it completely up.
I haven't seen that happen since Corrali, and Ray Derrick used to do that a lot about 10, 11 years ago. Just right on the line, he would just strip the spur gear. So
Well, it was crazy because I'd run it since I put it in after the inspections. So it ran through seating, qualifying, 2 A mains, and then finally the last A main, it's like, nah, I'm done. And then I got blasted because I was sitting on the grid. So it was like double bad.
that's not the way to finish out a weekend. But
No, I was like, all right, God, I got it. Thanks.
So there could be people who don't know who the hell you are. Who are you?
I am Clayton Young. I am the ROAR president. I answer all questions as they come in, but I haven't been on a podcast for a while, so it's a good thing to get back out there because I know there's lots of questions.
Okay. And so you took over this role when? I can't even remember. I want to say it was like 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years ago, January of 2023.
Okay. And, since then, I think there's been some noticeable changes within ROAR, and hopefully people also can agree to that. We were talking ad hoc over the past weekend, and you said there was some things you wanted to come in and just share info about. And hopefully the folks in the chat here won't be too quiet. I doubt they will. But
so we do get a lot of questions like, where does the money go? And like, where, like, if we're paying $100 per entry, like, why isn't the track getting more?
Mhm.
So we've tried to address some of it, but I think nobody really realizes the costs involved with running an organization to begin with. So I think it's good to get some of the info out there. Last year, we should have been able to show what the budget was, but the QuickBooks was so messed up that things weren't categorized correctly. So this year, we'll definitely be able to show that now that we've got the new administrator in, and things are a one-for-one categorization. But like, I'm sure most people don't realize that we pay the administrator $30,000 a year, so he can answer, pay the bills, do the taxes, process all the registrations from all the races. There's probably 1,500 registrations a year. The world's registration, deal with IFMAR. There's tons of stuff that he has to deal with. And now that we've got one that's really active, it's made my life easier. So I could actually race 2 nationals this year instead of only one, and be able to get more accomplished throughout the organization. But we also have like insurance that some tracks use, some tracks don't. It's up to them, but we have to be insured to be able to hold our races. The drivers have to be insured, so if something happens at a track, like if they have to go to the hospital or wherever, they've got some kind of insurance. So that costs, I believe, us about $16,000 a year, because I think there's 3 policies. One's for track, one's for drivers, and one's for the executive committee should a company feel like they need to sue ROAR into non-existence because they made a product.
That was the Ernie Paretti clause?
Yes, that's where that came from. A lot of this is historical stuff that I have to learn or had to learn over time. But there's those expenses, and the memberships definitely don't cover it all. So a lot of those, the world's fee is an extra $200 per person. Some of that's for the shirts. Some of it's for when we usually have at least one world race of some type each year. Last year we had 2. This year we have 1. So we have to send RMT to that. And because it's not one of our races, we don't make any money from it. So the extra money goes to offsetting that. The same thing with like the tracks not getting a ton of money. We're changing that next year. So the prices are going to go up $20, but all of that goes to the tracks. We're going to reduce some costs on our side. My desire to have great media turned out to be a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be originally, because of the agreement we had made. There was a fixed price, but then there was some caveats like hotel rooms and transportation to and from the airport that were a little bit more than I had planned on. Not that we're going to be in the hole, but we definitely could have done better with the bank account without paying for all the extras. I think that covers most of the basics. I mean, when we do have a race, we send RMT members to the track.
Look at this
there he
guy.
is. Hey. You batten down the hatches?
Look at this guy.
Man, it's been a hell of a day.
But you're in a secure location, all battened down?
Well, no, I mean, it ain't doing shit right now, but it's, you got to bring in the patio furniture. You got to, like, I had cut the grass. I had to walk the dogs today. Had to eat dinner. It's just, I didn't get home until like 6. So, it's just been a day. And so I knew I wasn't going to be on time. So here we are.
Okay. I wasn't on time either. I was having technological difficulties.
Yeah, this shit is easy, right?
You click a button. It's not hard, boys.
Motherfucker, you've had all day to prepare for this.
No,
you've been doing things. You haven't done nothing.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, we were just chatting a little bit about ROAR and finances,
Did you
and so
grow a goatee in like a week? Did you have a goatee over the weekend?
Yes, we just didn't do it close enough that you could see it.
Oh my God.
hold
Like, I
on.
didn't even.
Look down and then try to tell me if he has a goatee or not.
No.
That's probably what you were like the entire weekend.
Yeah. I didn't even.
Hey, he
I
was
didn't
very
even.
helpful. Every time I had a question for him, he didn't have any attitude. He just gave me an answer. It was awesome.
Was it a good answer though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if you asked me a question. Did you?
Yeah. Remember about cleaning the inside of the body pledge?
Oh yeah.
I think I asked you a setup question early on because my cars were so horrible.
Well, I was the wrong guy to ask on that.
What you told me worked, so I don't remember what it
Oh.
was at the time, but
Goddamn. Well, I helped somebody because I couldn't help myself to save my life. Couldn't help
I was
myself out of a
like,
fucking paper bag.
my cars would feel good for a few laps, and then they would just not feel good. So I'll tear them apart. We'll figure it out. I don't give up. I just get more evil.
What maybe just talking a little bit more about Roar the org, and then we can go back to the horror of that race for some of you. What other changes are kind of coming in 2025 that people should be thinking about?
So there is a presidential election that's going to be happening shortly because it's a 2-year term.
Nice.
Until after this term. So any of you people that would like to be president and meet the requirements of a board member for a year or a region director for a year, I believe. Nominations should be turning on here shortly. But other than that, we did a big rules update where we let USGT, VTA be back over where they belong. Like that's where they always were. I wanted that to grow and get better because it kind of had became stagnant. But putting the rules over on our side, I guess, prompted them to start getting things more up to date on their side. So that's working out well. We also added a 25.5 LMH class. EA had it ran at his track with the 21.5 motor, and it sounded like it went fairly well. We have motor rule updates coming so that we're more in line with the rest of the world. At some point, ROAR decided that they messed up and approved stuff that was outside the rules, so then they changed the rules to make it compliant with the stuff that they approved, and then that just kept continuing to snowball. So we've gotten more in line with everybody else, and there'll be some reset period where we won't have some arbitrary resistance number. It'll actually be based on motors that people can make or that.
Was this some old Ernie Pervetti thing that got approved by mistake? And
I believe the epoxy wasn't Ernie.
okay.
Definitely the 13.5 resistance was off the D3.5, which was nobody could ever get to it. So that wasn't really a good number. 17.5 and 21.5 are probably fairly close. But 25.5, like at least 3 different manufacturers had told me that they have to stick insulation inside of it to get it to be wide enough to make the resistance because it was so far off. And when asking the question, where did the numbers come from? It was more of a preference kind of thing than a science kind of thing. And I know you're all about science and numbers, so
we used an old Novak, and that's where we got the number from.
I believe that's correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They've been out of business for 15 years now, so
yeah. That seems like a novel concept, but not a reality concept. Also, the stator stack for 25.5, which bit Reedy, was different than 21, 17, or 13. So that didn't make much sense either. So that also got washed out. So they'll all be the same size now. Trying to think any other big.
So there's a question about why are we getting rid of the epoxy coating on motors?
One, it should have never been allowed to begin with. But 2, it makes no sense for us to prep for Worlds by running Nationals and hopefully sometime in the future regionals to get to Nationals only to find out the motor and everything you've been working on is useless, and you have to go find something that isn't even sold in the US to practice with to figure out what your gearing and timing should be.
Yeah,
It gets us in line with the rest of the world is the main
Yep.
thing, right? You know, so
And it is
therefore
almost
we have a
impossible to attack.
standardization across the world. It's a
Yep.
global standardization, like how most things are. Most things are built to some sort of spec or industry standard that's globally accepted, and this shouldn't be any different.
Correct. Yeah, and it is very hard to tech with epoxy. You basically have to cut that motor apart to even see what the wire sizes are.
So the motor rule, just remind me, when does that go into effect?
Right now, it's set to go into effect September of 2025.
And that date was picked because all the national events should be done by that time.
Yeah, it's kind of a transition period from outdoor to indoor. And talking to manufacturers, they asked if we could do a year because originally we were going to do it in January. So they could still submit motors starting in January with the new rules. They just won't be legal at a ROAR race until that event. That gives them time to figure out things. If they want to still wind the same way or do some different kind of inventive winding that we're seeing now. It gives them time to transition from their old stock to their new stock. It's like a good compromise between everybody.
Inventive winding. What's that?
I'm not giving away trade secrets, but we can talk later. It's something you'll enjoy.
I can't wait to see a brand new motor war take off again. And as such, I'm going to try to run as many modified classes as I can from now on, even if I'm slow. I'm okay with that.
See, I even before the epoxy stuff started getting crazy, I guess since I've been racing seriously, there hasn't been motor wars. So I don't understand what the
Well, there's always a perceived. See, the problem with racing is that you always perceive that someone else either A has something better than you, or B they're cheating because obviously you're the best and most talented racer on the track. How could you get beat?
Also, the best driver and mechanic.
Oh yeah, so there's just no way that I got beat because of those things. So therefore, they have to be cheating, or their motor is better.
Yeah, I did get that on the stand. That one of the guys standing next to me was like, "Man, I wish I was sponsored so my stuff was that fast." I'm like, oh, okay.
So the word from Paved Nationals, just talk about motors for a second. They said that Toasty had one of the fastest 17.5s there, that it was ballistically fast, and it was commented on by several different people. And he's like, "Yeah, I bought it from AMA."
Yeah.
So
most of us buy from the same place as everybody else buys, even if we're sponsored.
yeah.
But and like you said, it's a lot of perception.
Yeah.
If your car has to stop before it gets on the straightaway, it's not going down the straightaway very fast.
Right. You know, like I remember I bought something, and I think it was Hobby Wing Motors, and the one that I got off Amazon was the one that was the best one I got. So
I've never ordered one off Amazon. I haven't even thought.
Oh yeah, you can get everything. Dude, I went from Amazon Zero to Amazon Hero. All it took was a global pandemic.
I didn't realize we could get RC stuff on Amazon. I mean, it makes sense.
Dude, you can get everything. You can get anything you fucking like, almost everything you want. It's crazy. Like the number of things that you can just randomly get. I mean, you should check out the Track Rats Facebook page. I put a lot of great deals up there.
From Amazon?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and you click the link and you buy some stuff, help support the channel.
We buy through Track Rats. Everybody should try that.
Yeah. All right. So Clayton, like, what else has been going on in like the ROAR space, like that? Like, what's like a thing that 2 years ago you would have never thought would happen? Like, things that just shocked you in the last 2 years.
I think the biggest shock for me was the first fuel nats that I did out in Chico after the RD's drivers meeting. They applauded. And
Applauded?
applauded.
Why? Because you left?
No, basically my stance throughout this whole thing has been, let's settle it on the track. Let's stop with the trying to make this guy's illegal because he didn't have this sticker, or like all this nonsense that doesn't matter to racing. Let's stop trying to disqualify people for nonsense, and let's outdrive people on the track. Let's stop hacking people. Let's race. Let's have fun and race. And they appreciated that. Most of the off-road races that I've done, I get applause after the drivers' meeting. So it's kind of nice that everybody they
are a bunch of savages.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's always a couple. But for the most part, the off-road races have gotten much cleaner. Everybody pretty much knows if you run in the back of somebody and you don't pull over, you're getting a penalty. It's very rare that we miss it instead of always missing it like in the past. Most of the off-road or most of the rough driving's caught and called out, except for Tim missing mine, but it happens. He had a Jeff Parker moment. I got it.
Yeah, it's probably you were so far back. Why was he watching back there?
It was second when I was stuck. It was in the second turn, and then we watched the replay. He's like, "Oh, dude, I totally missed that."
Man, it's still human.
Is there a rule against restarts on at the paved nets? No, but we're not going to restart a race because one guy like me gets wrecked. It's just
he did say that it was kind of interesting because Peter there was a moment where Peter he called a stop and go, and there was also a moment where he did say, I think twice on occasion, that if we don't get through the first two turns, we're going to restart the race. Paul, sorry, did I say Peter? Yeah, Peter fucking Paul, Mary, who knows, whatever.
I'm assuming that's the race announcer because I didn't know who that was.
He's a track owner, and
he's a track owner. Okay. Nice guy, super nice guy. Nothing against Paul. I fucked up his name. So anyway, he didn't make those calls twice, and I thought it was odd that he was making the stop and go call, because I thought that was supposed to come from Tim. I believe this was in a 17.5 race, so I don't know if maybe he was just in the moment or what, or he actually has that authority.
So I don't know the situation exactly, but Tim was telling him to call stop and goes over the radio, so he would call them over the PA system.
Yeah, but this seemed like it was more very instant.
Okay. I do remember one during qualifying, I think.
Well, this was during the 17.5 A1, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was so far back, I don't even know what happened.
Right. I get it. Yeah. And then but then he also did say that, if we don't get clean through the first couple corners, we're going to restart these races. So I've never heard that kind of come from a race director before. Mm-hmm. So not the race director, but the announcer.
Yeah.
Have you heard an announcer try to tell you if you don't stop going at the tone, that something else would happen?
Yeah. See what happened to that motherfucker? He ain't done another ROAR race that I've been at since.
We'd keep him and Monty far apart.
He's on the list of track announcers that we're very special friends with.
Yeah, like the world's announcer that you're getting ready to go back to in November.
I mean, he and I are buddies.
Mm-hmm. I was going to take down the biggest guy in the room. I'm like, oh, that's not the way to start a conversation with Monty. You do stupid shit, you're gonna get stupid results.
All right, and any other like the people have been very quiet, and there are 22 people now online. Like, are there any other like ROAR related or IFMAR or like federation type questions out there?
Is Clayton Rhea running for election?
Depends who else is running. If somebody else good wants to run, I'm all fine with going back to being a racer. But if somebody like Jeff Parker wants to try and run, then I will definitely be running again.
Okay. What if you're unopposed?
Then I'm still doing it. Like, it's
Okay.
kind of like, if nobody runs against you, you are that in perpetuity.
So do you have to? Is there like a term limit?
It is 2 years. After this election, it'll switch to 3 because we updated the bylaws to make it a 3-year term instead of 2. But I said we can't do that while we're in office. It's got to be after the election, so it's not a direct benefit to us.
Okay. All
But
right.
that's only for president, vice president. Who else is elected?
That's it.
Okay.
President, vice president, and region directors.
Okay.
Fight Clayton for my old pit spot. Greg Sharp.
That's Greg Sharp. Yep.
Okay. Well, you don't have to fight hard because I'm going to be in Phoenix this coming weekend for an oval race. So
Oval race.
Yeah. What's going on with an oval race? Explain that.
So Hobby Action asked me if I would do tech for their oval race, motor tech.
Okay.
So I'm going to go out there and do motor tech, but part of the deal is that I get to run a sprint car. So I'm going to run a 13.5 sprint car at their oval race.
Okay.
You're gonna see so many fucking cheating motors.
Well, we're going to keep a whole lot of cheating motors.
Man.
Somebody took the plastic plant, Craig, but I think it's still at the track somewhere.
Is there like going to be ROAR rules for oval, or you guys
There
are
are.
no? But are there going to be like real rules? Like you know how you had like VTA from VTA and then VTA from ROAR. So like there's tour and oval, and then there's like some oval rules and ROAR. I'm assuming most people don't use those.
Correct. So we've taken the tour rules. Justin Algar's crew chief is our oval rep. So he's looking for some dirt rules to work with the carpet rules. So we have a rules platform, but we did put out that we were looking for a dirt oval track to redo a oval national for ROAR.
Do you have doesn't dirt have their own like
There's a few different ones.
okay.
Like Scotty has one group that he uses for the
Tulsa race?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brent uses something from the East Coast for his Dixie Nationals, and I'm sure Larry's using something for the West Coast.
Got it.
Requirements for a track to host a race or be a ROAR track, and we are looking for big race experience. We come in and take control of the race, so we're kind of rent the track from you with you give us 2 people to help out. But the big requirement is being a ROAR track member and probably having the best facility, because we're looking for costs of flying in, how far you have to travel from the airport, what the costs of hotels are during that time of year. So that way we're trying to put on the best experience and the most cost effective for the racers.
I don't know what Cooper's means.
That
It's
might be a
track.
set of rules. Oh, okay.
Cooper's was or is a dirt oval track.
Okay.
I think it's in Virginia.
Jesse's from Virginia, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I thought it went out of business. But Cooper also used to make tires back in the day. It used to be Cooper tires. They made dirt oval tires. So yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
And right now, ROAR's seeking bids for national events for 2025. Isn't that right?
That is correct. And EA would like us to open up bids for 1/8 Off-Road Nitro Worlds shortly thereafter.
Wow. What now, mind you, I know you're not really a 1/8 Nitro guy. You've run once and we're like in the triple Q main.
I think 1,212. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah. So thinking about it though, like just for a hot minute, who do you think? Because we've had like a few, maybe we'll get to that question in a second. We've had a few 8 scale events here of national claim in the last few years. I know LCRC has been is it LCRC, the one in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania? They've been real popular. And then the guys down at Hayden just had the Nationals recently. And I know A-Main has tracks and things like that. Like, where do you think this would actually go to? Just guessing. You don't have to say anything.
Right now,
Yeah.
my guessing would be one of the last 2 national tracks.
Okay.
This would be the world's track for 8 scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems to be all, like, that's all anybody cares about right now is 8 scale nitro, so, or off-road.
Yeah.
Well,
So I would say, they both did a really good job. I'm pretty sure Thornhill is going to put in a bid for it. It's really going to come down to time of year, temperature in the area, how close they are to an airport, because a lot of the worlds is a lot of downtime, so you don't want to be in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do. Like, it's not like a ROAR race where you're running 12, 14 hours.
I think the only place I would have like something to do would be Las Vegas, like the last Worlds. Like I was there at the 16 Worlds. I think it was 16. It was like the day after IIC had finished. I went down there. I was hanging out with Steve Boyce and Teru from Xenon, and we watched all the racing. And that's when Ronifolk beat Tessman for World. And but like I think I don't really know if there's a sufficient track, but I know Vegas would be popular.
Yeah, is the track not there anymore that it was hosted at last time?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Well, don't they have that Silver State race there?
Yeah, but that's like in a ballroom that gets rented, and it's a whole thing to do.
I think they rent a stadium kind of thing. Like
but I mean, with the money you get from a Worlds, I mean, you would think that there would be your entry fees almost double, isn't it? But you don't get as many, I guess.
For an 8 scale World, I believe they get $250 per entry. So they're getting, I don't know.
But then, well, guess what I'm saying is that you're capped at 150 entries, though.
Yeah.
Whereas these clowns can have the Silver State race and have 1,000 entries at $100, right? Yep. So, okay, never mind. Yeah, I mean, I think that, but I think also like some of those tracks that are like, I think there's a track in Michigan that's got like a dome that looked really nice. There's a track in Tennessee that looks really nice. It's got a cover on it,
Well, yeah, Hutto's covered, but it's Texas in September or July. Might not be super comfortable.
Yeah, we were just there. It wasn't.
Hence my hot. I
mean, like, hey, FJ, like it really felt kind of like it pretty much felt like Florida, and so I was like, it wasn't so bad for me, but there was a couple like hours in the day in the afternoon where it was like, ooh, I don't know, this is a little much.
What was the hottest it was?
Well, somebody's thermometer under the shade in the pit was like 104, 105.
Okay,
we had 109 on Donathan's thermometer.
That sounds worse than like the 2014 asphalt Worlds in Florida. We only got to about 100 and maybe 1 in the shade.
I think the track temp was 148.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm happy I wasn't there. I'd rather change diapers than do that.
I was nauseous the first day.
You're lying.
Enough water.
Bro, I got my diaper game down like quick. You know? Yeah.
She's listening, isn't she?
No, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I can change 3 diapers before she can do 2. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, and yet you do like 144 diaper changes a day.
Well, I think we at one point we were at like 3 diapers an hour.
Yeah.
It's maybe only like, that was early on. Like there was a lot of things happening.
Yeah. They learned, Clayton, that they didn't have to fucking do $3 diapers an hour.
Yeah. So.
Like, there's a lot of families out there that can't afford diapers, and these assholes are changing one every fucking 15 minutes.
Hey, you don't have to be a hater, bro. It's fine. But we buy diapers like we buy tires, Mangler. All right. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, my tire bill for Texas was huge. I didn't run the same set of tires throughout the whole practice. You would have been proud of me.
Oh, that's
Really?
nice.
Oh,
That's
wow. I'm
nice.
proud of you.
All right. So anyway, there's real questions here. So
Just
let's
like her
ask,
father.
yeah. Let's ask the real questions. So folks are asking if they were to run a ROAR race, then they're covered by the ROAR insurance. But like,
Yep.
you can have that for your normal weekly racing as long as
Yep.
the members and you are ROAR racers.
That's correct.
No difference. Like you get all the benefits all year round. You don't have to only have a national to have the insurance.
That's correct.
All right. And then Greg's asking, so what would you like to see in a next ROAR president?
Somebody who's not.
He doesn't. Maybe I'll answer it. He doesn't need another no talent ass clown to get in there and unfuck everything or refuck everything he tried to unfuck in the last 2 years.
Yeah. So we were hemorrhaging at least $30,000 a year.
Whoa! I'm sorry.
Up until I took over.
Hold on.
Oh.
Are you trying to say that people were using ROAR like a piggy bank?
We did not have any forensic accounting, but there was money going multiple times to the same locations for the same bill. So
sounds great. And like when companies or organizations don't have financial transparency, like I think that's kind of the problem that happens. And like, all the members should have started freaking out when like things weren't getting reported. And so, I don't know if you guys really get the pass for 23 of not reporting, but like in 24, you guys got to get that report done so you don't look like you're crooked. Like
I think it's a requirement from the government because we're a nonprofit.
Yeah, but no one really pays attention to that. Come on,
Yeah, but like it's not difficult when things are categorized. You hit a report button on QuickBooks and then you put it out there. Like I did ask him to break it out for like media costs so that way our members can see we ended up spending about 65% of the entry money on media. So
do you feel that was a sufficient ROI?
No.
Okay. Why?
Because it didn't change the numbers of people coming to the race or the amount of membership that we got. So the coverage is better. The coverage is definitely better. But it's not.
So the coverage is better. The problem is people attending, and I'm not. And again, I'm not throwing shade, but we were just in fucking Dale, Texas. You can't find Dale, Texas on a map. Like, it just doesn't exist. You gotta fucking zoom in, right? And again, Peter, whatever his name is a great guy. Nice place. I mean, really, for what that track is, it's really nice. Like where it is, and that for what it is, where it is, it's a really nice track. Covered pit tables, electric, fucking TVs everywhere. The driver's stand is great. He's a super nice guy. He cares. I can't say enough great things about In Control, but it's in Dale, fucking Texas. Like, again, as to quote the infamous JQ, nerds in a field. And like, you're never going to get attendance numbers up like having nerds in a field.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you guys are wrong in doing this because, we had to have the race somewhere. It's been a rough year as far as the Paved Nationals go because of the Worlds and hosting all that and, to get people out. So look, there was some challenges to begin with. I think that whoever takes over ROAR, or if it's you to continue the mantle, that really needs to look at having these races in a more public or venue. Even if we had the paved nats in a nice fucking parking lot somewhere, would be way better than having it in a field in Dale, Texas. You know what I'm saying? And even if it comes down to the fact that put it this way, if I had to pay $150 to go race a race, and that meant that it was in the parking lot of a mall, that fucking 10,000 or 15,000 people were going to pass by in a day, let's do it. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with that, and I don't think anyone else should have a problem with that. Um, and maybe I'm in the minority in that opinion, but
Actually, we've had some manufacturers ask if they paid to help host, could we set up a national race in a mall to get more exposure, more foot traffic, make it
because
easier.
inevitably that's what it's going to take. Like, I'm just using this as an example because it's local in Florida, and Michael's hobby seems to be pretty popular. He's got a new location. He's at a fucking mall. There's parking lots there. Like, not saying he put on the race or anything like that, but you have the product there in the parking lot. You can go into the mall and buy that shit,
Mm,
and let's go, right? And I think things like that is inevitably the I don't know, more of the direction we should go.
yeah, I agree. It's just coordinating it.
It's very hard, and I know it's not. Look, it's easier said than done for sure. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's not, but uh, yeah, I was just kind of going to the point that you were talking about,
Yeah.
getting in front of people. Sorry.
Well, and I think the media would be fine if we were able to pay for it. But I have a hard time spending all the members' money on good coverage when it's really not. It's not helping promote the sport.
Yeah, because the people that are watching are the people that are already into the sport.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, you're just making it easier for the person not to go, right? Like, well, I'm not gonna. It's just like a major league sporting event. Why go when I can sit at home and drink my beer and just watch it on TV than actually go to the game or the sporting event and experience it for myself? Now, there's a group of people that like live sporting events, right? And they're gonna go, and then people and then this one, like, it's easy for you to participate in because you can fucking do this. Anyone can just go to a ROAR race, right? But whereas, like, MLB or NBA or NFL, those tickets are really expensive, and they're like, well, fuck that. I'm just gonna sit at home and watch it on TV. And I think that's kind of what you're giving people. You're giving them the excuse of, look, I don't have to go, I don't have to be there. I can just watch it on TV and text my friends that did go. Maybe there is a part of that in there,
could
and
be.
it's actually a disservice to trying to grow racing or the events. Not saying that I'm right in what I'm trying to say, but I think that it's a strong possibility.
Well, I think the one thing, and there's a few other comments coming in. Like, I don't really know how much running racing in Milton Keynes actually helps anything. So I'm not buying this argument.
Home of Red Bull.
Yeah, but I was at the race, whatever. I was
I
at
know
the
it's a very industrial area. It's not necessarily. I get it.
There's a lot of stuff there, like a lot of people, a lot of foot traffic, but I don't think it turned anyone into racers per se. Like, I think like, if you think about, you already have a body of people that race, and I think the thing that could help make races get better attendance is to make them fucking shorter.
Yeah, we've talked about that too. Like, this one was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, but some of you guys were there on Tuesday.
Yeah, I needed it.
Did you?
Yeah, I still never figured it out, but I needed it. I would have been worse.
And I do like what Greg is suggesting, is like, if you were able to, instead of doing it in a mall, because I don't think a mall is going to fucking do dick. I think you would have better response at an actual venue. Like, let's say, even though it's in the middle of nowhere, like if you're in middle Ohio, or if you could somehow like get involved at the IMSA race that is at like Indianapolis, that just happened this past weekend, something like, I think that could honestly probably have more of a draw if you don't get sued probably by all those companies who are like, man, they just copied our bodies.
That'd be Montec. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I don't either. They're in Italy. But the reality is, I think there's already racers. You have to try to, provide them conduits for where they can give feedback. But I think a big portion of feedback from many people is like, you got to make it just shorter. Like, I know there's people that rather go to 2, 3, 4 smaller races than 1 week long. I just wasted my entire week race.
I kind of, to piggyback onto some of that too, I think that I remember back in it was probably the mid 90s, we used to have in Indianapolis, we used to race at the World of Wheels. I remember that show that used to travel around the country in the winter months. It was a car show that was indoors. And so every year we had a race during the World of Wheels. And man, I tell you what, you want to talk about popular. I mean, it was a carpet oval that they rolled out and we kind of pitted in the back. The thing I think what gets crazy with those kind of events and trying to have them in correlation, in correlation with large racing events is that they want money because that's space that they can use for something else, and we ain't got that kind of money. And I mean, it's even like the track at Homestead. I mean, it's right outside turn 4, right? It's there. Like you can look up. There's the fucking track, right? And nah, you're not going to get near that track. They're not going to let you use it during a race because that's fucking parking or that's fucking some concession stand or whatever, right? And so, because they're going to try to use every square foot. Now, if you look at something like Indianapolis, I mean, even there, I mean, that motherfucker you can fit, I don't know if you've ever seen the picture of the 17 billion things that you can fit inside the infield Indianapolis 500. Even then, they're like, nah, we have glampers over here, so we got to save that spot for the glamping, and then the fucking snake pit, and the yada yada yada, and they fill every inch of that thing with bullshit, and so and that's because it all brings in money. Nerds in the field don't bring in money, unfortunately. I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea. I think it's an excellent idea. I just
you got to bridge the gap.
I don't know how it can be done or feasibly. Yeah, that's the word. Sorry, I'm tired. My brain isn't working that great.
Yeah, I'm just starting to wake up from trying to recover.
Have any of you guys seen the coverage that Live RC has gotten out in the last few weeks of like last year's events
on Amazon?
Yeah,
I watched like 3 minutes of the off-road thing.
Yeah.
Is it just Vision stuff or is it everything?
It's just Vision, and then I think they have like a nitro race from somewhere. I don't know what that one was. Like a nitro on-road race.
It was the Worlds.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the ad for it. I didn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't that Vision thing like 3? It was like 3. I mean, I think they had Mayfield, and then he was running for Mugen or something.
I think this is their third year.
But are they still doing that stuff?
Yeah. They're selling it on Amazon.
But they're still hosting, but the races are just like 2 years old.
No, I thought they were doing this Visions race live on Amazon Prime.
Because it looked like, again, Cavalieri, or not Cavalieri, but Mayfield was running some sponsorship that he doesn't even race for anymore.
Yeah.
So, like.
That was probably the first year when him and Tessman got into a fight.
Yeah, Tessman was even there. So, like, I'm like, how old is this shit? I mean, I guess if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But.
Well, and they got Bob Barsha to be an announcer, so the announcer helps lend some credibility to it. It was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't think Track Rats with 23, people watching is going to solve world hunger. But, it's always good to kind of see what else could be out there. Hey,
if they want me to come announce a race or, do some commentary, I'm just a phone call away.
Do you have actual skills at doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at us.
Well, we could
look. When we went on Hefty, the Lefty greatest fucking podcast, he was like, "Dude, at the Worlds, you and I were like the best 3 fucking minutes of content they had the entire weekend."
Yeah, but that's not hard.
We would just bring that energy all day, every day, and
no, you'd run out of steam, and then someone would punch you in the face like every 3 hours.
Oh, nah, I got this. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, So, and then we went on his podcast, and it, no one watched. So yeah, hey, probably like that's.
Well, I think Mangler, the thing is, we just need to start running 8-scale nitro off road.
I don't know if they could take this heat. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
I've got one if you need it. Like,
Oh,
also,
I got one too. Don't worry.
This motherfucker's got 7 of them. Like,
Yeah.
I could have a buggy here in like 3 days.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'd be a fast pit bitch.
yeah. The problem is you need pit guys. That's really the problem. So anyway, maybe just switching it, and we won't spend a lot of time on this. Like, other than Mangler basically shit canning this guy's track in the middle of nowhere.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
It was nice. It was difficult.
It really, like, if you looked at all the amenities and everything that you wanted at an RC track, he had it. He had an ADA shitter. He had a regular shitter. Like, he had TVs in the pits.
Did you test the ADA shitter? Do you know if it's up to code?
Oh my God, it was so full.
It was so full. I didn't test it. No, I'm still constipated from the weekend, but I know that Sam Isaacs did, and he said he fucking tore it up in there. Sorry, Sam.
Thank you for that. But let's talk about, like, how was your all races? Like, how did things go? Like, did you have any glimmers of hope throughout the weekend?
You want to go first, Clayton?
Sure. Super stock? Not really. I was just trying not to wreck the car. Stock, my car was good out of the box, but Craig was on a extremely high level, and I was a good half lap behind him, which is half a lap ahead of everybody else, but still, you still don't feel great being a half lap behind somebody.
Now, like, define, why would a 21.5 car, did you ever try putting your 17.5 motor in your 21.5 car to see if it was just a box of rocks?
Honestly, I practiced 17.5 the whole time, and then I just threw the 21.5 car down for the race and seating, and it was good, so I didn't touch it.
Oh, so you basically dialed yourself out, and then you put down the car that worked, and it ran around the track? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, kind of. I used the setup for 17.5 that worked most of the laps, just not all of them. But I had the RC Maker chassis for 17.5.
What is just
for 21.5?
What does just not all of them mean?
So it would work for 5 or 6 laps, and then it would lose its mind for 2 laps, and then it would work for another 3 or 4 laps, and then it would lose its mind. It was probably me overdriving, or I'm sure it was me, but Craig, like, after the first qual day, or maybe after the second or third qualifier, he's like, I'm going to send you a setup. It was that bad. He's like, I'm going to send you a setup.
But like, so what would happen? Like, I saw the layout. It had like a chicane going onto the straight. There was a big ass sweeper. And
the big ass sweeper was the scariest thing because it was rough. There was parts inside, there was a hump. If you went too far outside, there was humps. If you were, I think, was it the middle of the entrance, Monty, there was a bump. There was bumps.
Right before the entrance, there was a bump on the straightaway.
Yeah, so
on the inside,
hit the bumps, your stuff was not happy, and it was trying to keep some kind of speed and not lose your car.
If you guys ran the track backwards, like sweeper onto the straight, do you think that the track would have been better?
I don't think the bumps would have played as big of a part.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been going as fast at that point.
Yeah. And you weren't trying to sail it into bumps,
Even in 17.5, it was enough of a sweeper that you didn't have to lift if your car was good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess your note to self is you need big bores for that track. How about you, Mangler? What was going on with you? Like, I watched your car, and I was trying to figure out why you were ending up like nosed into boards randomly throughout like qualifiers.
You and me both. Like, dude, like, I could tell you what, We started hot. We started 9. What time we start hot practice? The quick rounds.
9 o'clock in the morning was a 2-minute drill.
Yeah. So between that hour of 9:40 when I ran and 9:45 when I was done, my car was probably the 4th fastest car every morning. Top 5 easily every morning. And especially if you just went by 3 consecutive, top 5 every morning. After that, it was fucking shit till about 5 p.m.
So this sounds exactly like 2013 Asphalt Nats, our first ever race with an Awesome Max car. And I could seed my car, and then after racing was done, I could go fast. We just didn't have enough dampening.
Yeah, and that's kind of where
heavy.
I tried dampening too, and it didn't necessarily fix my car.
My car got worse, and Craig said it needed to go lighter. Craig and Sam obviously figured it out. Like, I'm just not good enough yet.
Well, no, I actually don't think they figured it out. Like in A2, Sam spun his car out and still kept on going and won.
Spun his car out, drove through the grass, which usually stops your car, and still won.
Yeah.
When we got back to the Airbnb after the race, I was looking at his car. I'm like, "You got grass all in the center pulley." It's kind of funny, but yeah, there was one setup change that I didn't do, which I think might have helped, and that was running a heavier front bar. I
Craig
could have
set
been
up
just one bar away.
I tried the 1.2s in super stock, and they weren't bad. I put them in stock, and it was horrible. So I went back to 1 bars. I mean, like Craig's usually does 17.5, and he'll worry about 21.5 right before the race. So I'm like, all right, if it works for Craig, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to practice the slow class. I'm just going to practice the fast class, because if I could drive the fast class, I can drive the slow class. Well, I never figured out how to drive the fast class. So that plan didn't work out for me.
What about this droop comment? Anyone thought so?
Droop didn't. Less droop was better.
Yeah. That if you gave it too much droop when you hit those bumps, you were screwed. It just changed. It changed the way it would, because the bumps were in corners, so it would change how the corners would load the car. So the less droop was better. We did try it. It just wasn't. What I didn't realize was when Craig was telling me to put more grip in the car, he meant add more ride height. I was thinking add more camber gain. So eventually when he sent me the setup, I was like, oh, that's what he meant. Because I was running like 5.0, 5.2, and then I think I went to 5.2, 5.4. I think we ended up at 5.4, 5.6.
Could have probably been at like 6.0. It may not have mattered. If you just hit, like, bottomed out less, it might have been better.
Yeah, I didn't have much scraping on the chassis. It just up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at Craig's car, it looks still brand new on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like he didn't touch anything.
It was just the loading. And that was the difference in chassis too, were things loading up too much and then snapping.
Okay. Say more. What loaded less? What loaded more?
So the more flexible the chassis, the more it would load. So the carbon chassis would load more. It would feel like better grip to me, but then it would snap because it was unloading. It's like I had to talk to Craig for a while to understand what he meant by that. The carbon chassis just felt numb to me. The hard carbon chassis just felt numb to me the whole time. And I never even got to run the aluminum chassis because I was so out to lunch with everything else. I was like, oh my God, I don't want her to do something that I have no idea what it's going to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I can tell you this. I'm done with carbon chassis. No more.
Craig did do the RAF chassis, but he said it wasn't as good as the steel. So,
yeah.
He said it was too stiff.
Maybe.
At one point in time, my Botas chassis was fucking the bomb.
Yeah.
That was early. But then grip came up and they didn't work anymore.
What's the Botas chassis?
It's just aluminum that's all cut out.
Okay, that's the one I brought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff from December of last year. So, all right. Well, hey, you know, I hope for better success at future events for you two and myself.
Yeah,
Are you going to any future
a lot of
events?
things. It was a unique experience.
Am I going to future events? Yeah, I should be going to future events.
Okay. 2026 or
No, 2020.
2024, 5?
Yeah, we're in negotiations right now to do club racing and Bakersfield. So
Negotiations. How's those going?
Yeah.
Is this like the fucking Geneva Accords or what?
We were driving somewhere and my wife said, you know, I think SeaTac's done racing this year. Is there going to be any other local racing? I think you should go.
Really?
I think she wants you out of the house.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think I want to get rid of you a little bit.
Yeah,
She needs some time.
I hear there's a nice club race in November.
What's that?
I hear there's a nice club race in November.
What's it called? The Worlds? If more Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Bakersfield.
Yeah.
If you could test all the chassis for me and then let me know.
I can tell you this, Clayton. A raft chassis with all the weights in it is very similar to a steel chassis with as is. I think when you start picking weights out of the raft, or then you get a slightly different weight distribution than the steel, but they're very close to one another. And you know, my goal is to have like 2 metal cars at Worlds. I've never run a metal chassis at that track. I don't think I need to prior to it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So I'll order one.
Yeah, but like I have a feeling metal is probably where you want to be, and you know the bigger thing is you also want to have like the chassis be relatively heavy, so have a lot of stuff in it.
Like the old $1 million chassis.
Well, I think the RAF is heavier than that old Rebellion chassis.
Okay.
But I never
like it on carpet.
I can't. Yeah, Mangler's going to go way a Rebellion. He'll let us know. No, he's not doing that. He's probably going to take a dump. But yeah, you know, at least that's my take on it. You know, but the only thing I'll caution anyone with Bakersfield is, you know, end of the straightaway, there's a left-hand turn sweeper. Take it easy the first 2 laps.
Did you bend one?
I shattered 3 carbon chassis in the outside wall over the course of 2 different race events there.
Were those the 2 race events I was at with you?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you shattered chassis.
Dude, you didn't see I had an extra pit spots with me disassembling cars?
Well, then you do that all the time.
Well, that was because they were fucking down. They were down hard.
That. I did do a 30-minute chassis swap.
Yeah.
We had a 30-minute break, and so I swapped from the hard carbon to the soft carbon because my stock car was working and my super stock wasn't.
Yeah.
And I did good until the last 30 seconds. The servo came out, and I guess I forgot a couple screws to tighten.
Oh, God. Take an extra 40 minutes next time, not 30.
I didn't have any more minutes. We were up because they 17.5 ran first.
Yeah.
So I had to wait till after I was done with 21.5 because they were kind of back to back.
Yeah.
And then start ripping it apart, and we had a 30-minute break. So I got 42 minutes maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed there was only 2 screws I left loose. But it was so bad that it popped the ball cup off of the A-arm up front on top.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So were you on like a much better than pace until then?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay.
I didn't finish the race. I ended up clipping a corner, and I thought that it was because I just clipped the corner. I didn't realize that the car was coming apart.
It's funny you say clip a corner because Greg Sharp has a corner at Jackson, which they still call Sharp's Corner. because he's annihilated multiple low-C Type R chassis there. So there's like a little section at the front where it's super thin, and yeah, he destroyed those.
Which corner in Jackson?
It after the whale tail,
Uh-huh.
coming back to the left-hand side.
Uh-huh.
You know how there's that little the thing goes this way, it jogs a little bit before the hard left, hard right. It's right before that. There's a berm, and he goes Rocket Man, and then
I don't think I ever hit that.
You probably have.
Okay.
You just don't own a low-C Type R. That's all. That's all it comes down to. And then there is no ETA. So no one will give me one. I can't give anyone else one. So, but yeah. All right. Well, hey, exciting to see I'll say two world caliber racers here on the podcast. I'm very excited. Clayton, I think we helped stir the pot to get you elected as the president to help drain the swamp, as I think I might have said once.
Yep. And everybody's gone now.
Well, I think a lot of the riffraff are gone, and you've had people come and go throughout your term.
This is true. Some of them didn't work out; they had to go,
and that's fine. And maybe they still may not be totally working out, or I imagine you can probably look at everyone and be slightly disappointed. All right, it happens. Okay, but the hope is that you get a few more good people there, and you feel like you're not destitute to a non-paying job anymore. So
yeah, I think that's the other misnomer, because everybody thinks that the money for races goes into the president's pocket, or president
used to.
Not the president. President wasn't part of the RMT or anything. So
yeah, he didn't go to Chuck. He went to the RMT.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chuck was just the guy who let it happen. Oh, okay, that's what it was.
It would not have only been him. It would have been happening for many years, since 2016. So
it is what it is.
Yep.
All right. Well, any final thoughts here, gentlemen?
Are we done?
I don't know. I'm pretty much done, unless you got something else.
Okay. No, that's it.
I can't talk about how bad my car was this past weekend because I wasn't there.
It would have been. I can.
Okay. All right. One guy told me once you had to plant the rear and then make it steer.
Yeah, I was trying. It just didn't happen.
So yeah, we ended up going softer to plant the rear, and then the car would push. So then you'd give it more steering, and then it would unplant the rear. So it was like that constant battle to try and keep balance. Like I was a 1.8 rear. Usually I'm like 3.8.
Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. Like if I were having to run a 2 millimeter rear B gap, I probably would never have done that. Actually, I just would have laughed at you, and I would have done something else.
So your cars would have been like normal.
I would have had 7 degrees of rear toe, just something.
I tried that; it didn't work.
Yeah, I'd never go more than 2.5. I was at 4.5, and it would still break loose. I'm like, okay, toe is not fixing this freaking problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely some unique things that were happening, and there was some weird shit going down at Special K, and Bill and Ted quote.
Circle K. Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
All right, whatever.
The only Special K right here is you, buddy.
Oh, Special K is the cereal.
Yeah.
Or Kennedy.
Yeah.
All right.
But all right. Well, I appreciate us having I don't know, like 97 years of RC racing experience here on the podcast. Thank you. And I guess final thoughts, like what's everyone's next race?
Phoenix Oval this weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're not racing. Oh, you are racing. You're gonna just go fast.
13.5. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully you have
Don't-
spare arms.
Don't lift.
That it's just because it's so slow. It's just point.
No, I mean, you just want to you just want to ease out. You don't necessarily need to.
Yeah,
Just do enough to transfer, and then you turn.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like 12 scale stock.
And then
Oh,
if you can put enough left trim in the car that it just makes the corner kind of on its own, and then you steer right down the straightaway, it'll be faster.
oh,
That makes no
I-
sense. I know.
But it works.
I know Monty knows oval.
Yeah. So like literally, you turn right down the straightaway, and then you come back to just past neutral, and it'll just fucking go right in.
What if somebody's wrecking in front of you on the straightaway?
You peel them.
You just don't lift. Fucking Days of Thunder, that shit.
Right through the smoke.
Yeah. It'll clear.
Sorry, Larry.
Hey, it ain't your car.
True.
I bet it's going to be a really good car.
Oh, we'll make it good. Somebody there will know what to do.
Yeah, that's if they actually care about you.
Oh,
So
How are you,
Especially if I
guys?
qualify
You still
for
doing
the-
F-Zero this weekend, or are you guys going to get rained out?
no, we'll do it. The old whites in this state, they probably want to not race, but no, we're racing. We'll be out there. This storm will be through by Thursday evening. You know, we'll have time for Joe to go out there and put his fucking pine saw down and get the track all prepped up.
Consistent.
Consistent. And hopefully, we should have a full day of prior practice. We might have some bands that come across the state, but since this thing's going to be so far west and kind of in the middle, we might have a band that reaches across there. Should be big, and we should have a full, beautiful race weekend.
Which track is that?
Valkyra.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll be at Valkyra, and then I fly out Monday to Bakersfield for the week.
Awesome. You're living the dream, buddy.
I'm living the dream, but it's actually been a nightmare so fucking far. So, let's hope things get better. Because after my performance this past weekend, I mean, I seriously, there's a lot of quit coming. It's not good.
Yeah, it makes
not
me just
good.
harder. So, like, I was like, you were such a failure. You got to figure this out. You got to go back now.
Well, I get that, Clayton, and that's really kind of the mentality I have. But it's more funny when you say it the way I say it.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
You're right.
All right.
Just stay away from the light, big fella. Stay away from the light. All right. Right. You could still have a 12 scale in the same position it was 3 weeks ago.
4 podcasts ago.
Yeah,
Just
Monty.
hoping and dreaming.
The car did get built. It did make it out there. I saw your comment on it. Probably still hasn't progressed from the chassis.
Well, no, I saw my comment was that Roomba is going to be faster.
Oh, that's true. It's fun as much as the Roomba.
Yeah.
Right. Well, hey,
you have to maintain your Roomba a lot.
About every 3 months, I tear it down and clean it.
you
This
probably need to
motherfucker,
pull the hair out of it.
this motherfucker we got, I feel like I rebuild it every month.
Wow. My sharks are much better.
The sharks are much better.
Yeah. Because they're bagless. They're made more for maintaining themselves.
All right, just curious. Because Roombas are kind of like Huddy tire chewers. If you can't fucking fix them, you better not have one.
Yeah. I have a L mop that's badass. It's like circular. It knows when it's carpet, so it lifts up the pads and a vacuum.
Got it.
It dumps its own water.
You have a lot of pet hair?
I have 3 cats.
Oh yeah, you're good. Yeah.
All right, guys, like and subscribe. Hopefully, the last bit of kitty fancy hasn't gotten you guys to not be interested. So like and subscribe, and we'll bring some more cat fancy next week, and maybe actually Mangler next week you'll be in Bakersfield, right?
Hey, but maybe I could do like a live report. We can get like all the fast Euro guys on.
You could try that. You could be. How about this? You could convert over to being RC Media instead of
Okay.
RC driver.
Because Monday I get there. I don't get there till like probably 3:00 Monday. So like I could get a couple packs in, and then I could just walk around and be like, hey.
Are we expecting a lot of Europeans to come over for it?
Yeah, I think between who's going to be there for the week of just practice, we're guessing somewhere between around 30 people, plus or minus 5 or 10. Or I would say 30 people, plus minus 5. So I think that will be the people that will be there for the week.
But not just Europeans; it'll be Americans too, right?
There'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I know of, and 6 if you count David.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mayhew will be there.
yeah.
No, you gotta subscribe, Ronald. You gotta subscribe.
Yeah, what I can tell you is the turnout was a little light the past weekend there. But EJ Evans made his re-debut. He had hot lap in mod, but he failed in the main. But he said he had hot lap in mod, and I verified it. So.
Yeah.
Was it faster than Monty's hot lap?
They run a different direction, and they're
you
running
can't
a nice.
compare days on an
compare
asphalt
days.
track,
Yeah.
let alone layouts or whatever. So, but yeah, I've already gone faster than Monty's hot lap on the track. It's no problem.
It's not
What track
about.
are we talking about?
Bakersfield.
How fast do you go?
I've gone a 12.3 or an 11.3, whatever the good number is, and a 3.
Whatever.
Backwards?
But faster.
Nah, correct direction. So
I need to see proof of this.
it happened, dude. It was so good. It's when I figured out what I was doing wrong with brakes, I pulled it.
Oh wait, this is when you were running those fucking cheater ass tires.
What? Bitch, please. Cheater tires. Suck a dick.
Okay, it wasn't on the same tires, so it wasn't the fucking same
What
thing.
do you mean wasn't the same tires?
It was like the first race you were there.
No.
And you're running
It
those
was the last time
EXXs.
I was there.
Whatever. Get the fuck out of here.
It's after Sam and the Rocket Turtle coached me. Lucas. They were
Coached
like,
you what?
What's that?
Well, coached you how?
My car didn't brake good enough.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
Yeah. So, and this was definitely after I rebuilt splintered cars. Always after.
You only had 4 cars that weekend?
What, die?
Yeah.
I've only killed 3 chassis, all right?
In one weekend.
No, it took two plane rides to kill 3 chassis.
Okay. My chassis count is 0, but for the record.
That's fine. Just start trying, all right?
And I won, so
Okay. You won the club show.
That was the Awesomatics race. That's like WWE belt. He's just like, bam.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna model to exit. I'm gonna model my new Jackson RC T-shirt.
Nice. Aren't they closed for the season?
They are, but when they send me a T-shirt, I'll go put it on.
Oh, nice.
And but thank you all for joining, for those questions, and hopefully we can. What's that?
Roland signed in.
Oh yeah. Hi Jeff.
Hi.
You're only like an hour late, but that's good. Anyway, great seeing everybody, and we'll hopefully do this next week. Maybe depends if Mangler is still there.
We'll see.
If you need a host, call me. I'll be available.
Yeah, it depends on how it goes this weekend at the State Series race. I might definitely end up killing myself. It could be bad. If there's certain people that end up beating me, then we might have a conversation.
All right. Well, we'll have to get live updates from Dave Vera over the weekend.
All right. Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. Good luck this weekend. Don't give up. Never give up.